There we go. We're live. We are live. Happy... What day is it? Wednesday? It is Wednesday. So doing a cozy stream tonight. You know, just painting a little bit, finalizing. I keep going back and forth between some brushes. I've added them, I've gotten rid of them, I've tweaked them, I've done some stuff. So I'm gonna utilize a few more new brushes in the 2025 brush pack that I'm playing with. So we're just working on a fantasy painting. I'm trying to make it more stylized, and I'm also trying my best to not use a lot of references. There is one reference, there are some mood references that I looked at, tried to get the idea of, but really whenever I was drawing and doing the block-in method that we did with the thumbnailing and stuff, it's a new type of thing. Also, I changed the chat deal. The chat it's on a browser setting now instead of having just a window open in a weird way. So hopefully it should, I need to tweak the settings to make sure it doesn't keep deleting itself as we hop scenes. There's usually a way with selecting windows, like browser windows, that you can say, hey, keep this active while you jump scenes, but this is an actual website. So I wonder if there is a way, maybe, let me check something real quick. Boom. Yeah, see, and oh, there it is. Is that right? Okay. That might be why. That might be why. Maybe I think it said shut down source when not visible. And I turned that off. So there we go. There we go. And see, and what I did, we'll click over here. I actually have it over here as well, up above the... We'll play with it. I can play with the opacities and stuff too. I might move... I don't want stuff to be super crowded, but I want you guys to be able to see your chat on there. Be like internet celebrity people. You know what I'm saying? So we'll tweak it. We'll tweak it. We'll look at it. I can even do it kind of the way we did where with the iPad art, how we have that type of thing. Oh, funny. And I have the older chat window up right here. Oh my God. Cherie. Ha ha. Bobbity Boopa with the raid of 8 people. I appreciate you very much. We'll figure it out. I'm an old man. I like technology fine, but the older I get, the more I want to be a hermit in the woods. My dudes. Oh, dang. Thanks for the follows, gang. Welcome. Super happy to have you. Cut back over here. So there we go. See, this one looks a little cleaner than the other one does. The other one has bigger icons. So I'll play with some stuff. You know, I'll play with it. But we'll take a look-see. We can even do something like this, maybe, to where I move the event list maybe over here. Right? And then the chat, like right here. Oh God. Let's do some pixel perfect. But of course it blocks the brush stuff. So we could always I don't know. We'll figure it out. Because I want people to see what brushes I'm using too. Hey, Colin, what's up, my friend? The brushes are a family tradition passed down for generations. See, it looks great here. Looks real good there. But yeah, we'll play with this. We will play and Cause see, that's how the other one was, so we're doing like chatception right now. That's how the other one was, and it just completely blocks stuff, you know. But I like people to see kind of what they want to see. If they're trying some new techniques and painting along and stuff and using the same brushes, I want them to have that experience as well. Who knows? So let's put this back kind of where it was. Oh god. Thank God for the arrow keys here. So I can kind of... Yeah, it's good. Kind of. Hold on. Yeah, there you go. My OCD. Okay, so this is what we're working on. I wanted to make something that has kind of a thunderstorm vibe. I will be adding rain and rain speckles and all that stuff at the very end. But I want to find this good mix between painterly and comic book. That's sort of the goal lately, right? Like a dynamic pose. We're going to be using some gradient maps. We already have used some gradient maps, but I have to refine some things first. Namely, the perspective of her pauldron. Kind of the perspective of her face. I think it's okay, but I do need to improve the three-dimensionality of it. I do have... I had some references here, kind of for the hand and stuff, but really this... So I may need to change where that highlight's coming from, because I was thinking of it like a backlight. The only problem with that is, if a majority of the actual light coming through the clouds is over here, you wouldn't have this strong of a rim light over on this side, even if it is backlit. It would be kind of on these pieces right here, kind of get away with this also, or get away from this. Also, I will actually make her face darker, because as you can see, if it's truly backlit, pretty dark value. This is good for like readability and stuff, and I can come in and adjust the eye shape and things like that. But other than that, I mean, we're doing a little bit of dry brush texture stuff. Kind of keep it painterly, kind of keep it loose while we're working. Gonna make her sword much sharper, of course. Just some, you know, rendering. Just doing some things, you know. So I'm gonna move my references over here. Really what I got inspired by, I remembered a magic card. Let me see if I can find it. One, Iraq Note really did a great painting, really beautifully done. It had that kind of thunderstorm vibe, and I kind of like that, because that's hard to, this is hard to do, to make it actually feel like there's moisture in the air and stuff. And then of course, I wish, is that Dong Bao, maybe? Some incredible shapes here. And then Thomas Ducek, who is a beast. Really like, you can tell this was just fun and imaginative, and look at that, that's so cool. And see, kind of loose brushwork, but still you can tell there's some density to the brushes, and same thing for the trees, you know? So this is the kind of vibe. More of the refined concept art style. We'll try for that. But there was one, let me see if I can find the open images. There was a magic card that I love the look of. Is it under NTG? And I think it might be by Niels Ham. Maybe. Is it just in the normal inspirations folder, maybe? I literally just had it. Literally just had it not too long ago. Before we went live. Oh my gosh, where is this thing? It has to be in this folder. It has to be. The reason why I have this folder kind of hidden is there are unpublished Warhammer pictures that I'm not allowed to show. Where is the freaking... Alright, this is ridiculous. Where is it? I think it's, the card name is Thalia. Pretty sure. And she's like holding a sword up to the heavens in the middle of a field and has a really cool Dutch angle. And the way her hair is like wisping around in the wind looks super cool. I remember liking it a whole lot, so I wanted to try my hand at that kind of composition. But of course, because it's me, I threw a horse in there and changed the lighting and basically made it completely not like that picture at all. It has to be under this one. I know this is riveting content, by the way. Me staring at, at a monitor no one's allowed to see. I swear. Oh, actually, that's a helpful... I'll get that picture too, because that does kind of match the lighting. I want to see how they solved it. And then I'll close it and try to remember it. Oh, there it is. Thalia Garden of Thraben. That's it. Boom. Cool. All right. So, here we go. So this kind of matches the lighting a little bit. I don't want it to be sunsetty like this. But this is the one where, okay, this could make sense. And plus you see how the values are darker here. But the one that I wanted, God, that's dope. Look at that, man. Ridiculous. And look how soft the features are, because her features aren't the main thing. It's her, like, oh, that's a sick piece of art. That's super good. Still want it to look nice. Yeah, it's a way to go. And well, and the nice thing is, that is a good way to go, because I would spend, I mean, I would, you know, time limits and stuff aren't really the be-all end-all. But I would only give myself maybe, if I can't get somewhere in 4 to 5 hours, it ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? That's what I'm learning about myself and the way I work is the closer I get to the final faster, the more fun I'm gonna have. Because then I can manipulate, I can do a bunch of stuff and techniques and try things out, but the image still reads okay. Okay, so, and then there's like a slight hit of light over here. The only difference is I have whipping hair everywhere. Maybe I can do that base of the nose, kind of like that. Yeah. Let me try that. So, what we're going to do, of course, is do our value trick. Fill with black. And I wonder if you guys have noticed all of the dry brush, canvas, pastel stuff. So a lot of this is making it into the 2025 set. Some of my favorite ones are these dry brushes right here, because they're kind of a nice mix between a pastel, a charcoal, and a mixer brush. Because they blend in kind of with everything around them, but it gives you good canvas texture and stuff. Because if you look at how the colors are mingling here, that type of stuff is like, mwah, it just looks good. Doesn't need to be fancy. You can do it in 2 brush strokes. It's fine. You see what I mean? And it just adds a little something, little spice, as it were. But what we're gonna do, select all, edit, copy, merged, paste. Okay, we are going to work in black and white for a little bit, just to refine some stuff. Then we're going to come in with the color, change it up. And now I'm wondering if we want to take it into like a Paintstorm Studio or Art Rage or Rebel and really put a few nice kind of painterly looks to it. Because I think my quote-unquote style, if there will be such a thing, is going to be a mix of... thank you for the follow, my friend. Snoozer, welcome. I think it'll be a mix. It'll be a mix of comic book dynamic shapes and layouts mixed with the kind of painterly brushwork, I'm thinking. Because that way I get the best of both worlds. I can make a design and design the shapes first, make sure it reads okay, and then come in and do all the fancy pants edge stuff. And I think I've fully decided on that, because that way I don't have to choose. I don't have to be like, well, it's not painterly enough or it's not comic booky enough. That way I get both, and I can just control how much based on what the needs of the piece are, you know. So we have right there. So I'm thinking, and like I said, I'm going to try not to use as much reference for this. I'm going to kind of wing it, because I think winging it is also going to help build that confidence in making the style just work, you know. So this is just kind of an even touch that I'm doing to try to lower the value across that face. See, we can keep it dark like that. Get rid of that. Let's smooth that out. They've doubled the price. They bought up to 40. I mean, it's still worth it for 40, but man, that was such a sweet spot at a... See, I like the Rembrandt triangle idea. The only thing is, to me, sometimes it makes characters look like they're wearing you know, in movies where football players put the band-aids on under their eyes. That's what it reminds me of. And see, and then changing the lighting is different because it's going to change that anatomy on the nose, which is why I took why changing the lighting really changes. Yeah, see, I need to bump her nose over. The angle's so weird. Here, let me... I think the eyes being where they are throwing me off. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I think this one's okay. But I think this one, I need to relook at the shape of the face. Yeah, because this, since this is tilted up, maybe I need to move the lips up a little bit. And then what I really need to do is come under the chin, add some bounce light here. So let me take a look at that reference just to, I mean, that's kind of a, that's a pretty close fit, but really I took this picture because I also wanted the proper lighting from, and by the way, let me link you guys the website that I use. So I don't know if you remember during the Procreate stream, I showed you guys the pictures I took of the models and stuff like that. I found out after doing a little bit of research, there is a free version that you can utilize on the web. You don't even have to download anything. And it's called Magic Poser. And it is a doozy. So I am going to post that up. That way you guys can bookmark that. It gives you like 5 or 6 different models you can look at. Some are anime, there's a male, there's a female, there's a stylized, which is kind of a mix between human proportions but anime face, stuff like that. You can also do, they have poses, but any of the poses you can also click on parts of it. You'll see the kind of the hinge joints, and you can manipulate and rotate and stuff. You can also rotate the lighting. But it's super cool. And yeah, you get the free, or you get kind of a free version on the web, but it's nice because you don't have to download anything. I literally saved it onto my bookmarks bar, onto the deal. And let me bring it over real quick so I can show you guys kind of what it looks like. So you have something like this. It's also, you can do it on a stream just because you can toggle the clothes on and off. But basically you can pick parts. I'm holding down the middle mouse button and that pans. I hold down shift. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Oh, you don't actually have to hold down shift. Okay, cool. Just regular left click. You rotate around the figure. Yeah, middle mouse button there. What was the other? You can scroll in and out. So you can do that. So what I do basically is I tried to get the angle correct. You can click, go to rotate. The only thing is to rotate the whole character. If you rotate, there you go. So you have your different axes right here. You have your X, Y, and Z, or Z, depending on where you're at. But yeah, you can change presets. You can change, let's see, toggle. You can show the guidelines if you want, or you can have it be a void. I like the guidelines because why not? Hands, presets. Those will be those. So basically, where is the actual... Oh, replace. You go to replace, and then it shows you the different characters you have access to. And then with each character, you have hair that you can put on. So if you click here, go to hair. It has some crazy anime hair, but it's just something. I don't like the hair all that much in here, but it is what it is. But the cool thing is, let's say you like the pose, but right here you need to rotate that joint. You can do that. Rotates by there. Then here, rotate. Same thing. It's going to lock it to an axis. That way you won't go out of what's like kind of humanly possible. But what's cool is if you do this, you go to preset, you can find any of these built-in poses. You see what I mean? Look at it from any angle. Then the 3 arrows, the yellow arrows, this is the lighting. So you can adjust the brightness, right? The global illumination, which is going to affect how much bounce light you're going to get, and also ambient occlusion. Those things are related. Ambient occlusion is just the darkest darks. So like under an armpit where like no light can get, this is going to also affect, see kind of the density of how dark those get. But you can click here, you can click rotate, and this is cool because then you can rotate the angle of the light globally. Then you can also do up and down, and depending on if you go past the zenith or not, it changes it from day to night, which is a really cool, like, you see what I mean? It's really neat. And this is free in your browser. You can go on this anytime, you can use it, and then basically what I do to get the snapshots, I open the Windows snipping tool, right? I open this, and on Mac, there's probably a thing, I can't remember what it's called. I haven't used a Mac in 25 years. But you do this, you can click the preview button. That way it gets rid of all the modules. Because see, whenever you like shift or change or do something, the modules come back up. And you probably don't want these in your picture. But if you click preview, then you can go new. Then I'm going to select that, and there you go. Now you have a reference. You can copy it, you can do whatever, you know. But yeah, I just want to show you guys that. Really cool. Super easy as well. That way, if you don't want to download DAZ or Blender or try to learn like Unreal or Unity or whatever, because I totally understand that is a huge undertaking. If all you need, but you want something a little more elaborate than what Clip Studio offers, I mean, they're probably about equal, to be honest with you. But if you don't have Clip Studio, there you go. One of the features of Clip Studio now you get for free. You know what I mean? So trying to get into Age of Sigmar. Dude, I have... What do I have? What was that big box that came out for Age of Sigmar? Dominion? I have the whole box. I don't think I opened it. No, I opened it to make sure it was all there. I haven't put together any of the models. I haven't put together any of the stuff. I have the rule book up there, and I know that's even the old edition now, so... Seraphon are awesome. Super, super cool. Let's grab... So we have this. This just kind of shows socket a little bit. So we're going to use that. We're not going to really swear by it too much. I just needed to see... Yeah, oh, that's what it is. We're looking at kind of an off angle of... Change the intensity of that. There we go. That's looking better. And then this actually has to come back over here. Yeah, here we go. I just need to get that perspective right. Because there's some parts of it that are still a little nuanced. But this is why stuff like those little 3D models are so helpful, you know. And then I'm doing a cast shadow from the hair. Like that. So that's why we have this line going through here. But I don't know if that's necessary because of how dark the not being hit by direct light is anyway. I think it looks cool. So, I mean, even if it's not realistic, we might keep it anyway, you know? And then it looks like here... Ah, I see. Yeah. So the socket needs to be a little bit more apparent. Then we can... see. I'll get her nose correct, but I also don't want to, like, break it. You know? So... It's funny, this actually kind of reminds me of lightning from Final Fantasy 13. I didn't mean for it to happen that way, but especially like lightning returns. There we go. We'll kind of keep the eye a little mysterious there. Anatomy's still a little off, but that's kind of why I'm liking the more stylized approach. Even if the anatomy's a little off, if it looks kind of right, then we're safe, right? So if I come and smooth that out, actually, I'll come back more a little further in and change up the eye structure. There we go. Cool. Let's see, what kind of brushes do I like for hair? That's a good question. Really? I'll show you the secret that I have found for hair, because I actually have to change some of this. Well, especially that this highlight doesn't make sense, so we're gonna edit it. I do essentially a hard round-esque brush, and I put in the shape. I put in the shape first, because really all hair is light and dark, kind of refracting off, right? Because your hair has natural oils, and those oils... So let me... those oils show like glimmer and all that good stuff. So really, I like to render out the hair. Yeah, that looks better. A little less dramatic maybe, but we can add the drama back in maybe over here. Yeah, I'll try to show it in a minute. So really what I like, and the strands of hair are different. These are more like octopus tentacles than they are actual hair. But in my experience, blocking in the hair is a better way to go than trying to do like individual strands. This is part of the fun of the optical illusion of painting texture or painting detail. You don't necessarily want to paint the detail. You want to paint the idea of the detail. So instead of, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do little bitty strands of hair, it's not going to work. It's not going to work all that well. what you want to do is that's when you want to change the texture of your brush. So if I come in and I get like the plastic wrap brush, and then I want just a little hint of hair to get like caught in the light, I can maybe grab like a lighter value, and then I'll come in and then I'll like add a little something, right? I'll do that. This is definitely not a hairbrush, but you see how that texture is? It gives you something. And not just this brush, but I mean, this is a plastic wrap brush. If you want to make it look more realistic, I would actually argue, let's take a look at a few reference pictures, because people that get so caught up in like, I'm going to get a one pixel brush and go and like comb my character's hair. You're actually doing yourself a disservice, because the way pixels.com, I will go woman portraits. I will bring up this. Let's bring over this one. 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 Okay. So here's a decent variety. They're all kind of long hair. They have some wispy areas. They have the light, they have the dark. But if you notice something, they all have volume. When you make this is essentially a helmet. Hair is a helmet. Hair is a helmet that lays on your head, and you start with the roots, and then as you get further away or whatever, it literally conforms to the structure, right? So what you're actually seeing, and we can even go into black and white to really make it, what you're actually seeing is the shape. You're seeing the silhouette of the hair. Like, you're seeing that before you see individual strands. Same thing here. This is like, you could make this a mound of one shape, one color. Same thing here. One shape, one color. And then down here, one shape, one color. Right here. Then, that's when you can go in with maybe a textured brush, or yeah, somebody mentioned like a animal hair brush or a fur brush or a wispy brush. Like, we can do something like a rake brush. I mean, you can use anything. You can use halftone. You can use really whatever you want. Let me grab... Whose brush pack do I want to look at? Let's do Jamie Jones. Sure, why not? You can use a ground texture brush. Just because something's named ground texture does not mean it needs to be ground texture. So let's say I wanted some nice highlights or something. All you're seeing when you're looking at hair is the idea of detail. Do your best to get it out of your mind. We can also do, let's find a rake brush of some sort. The individual hairs don't matter. And there's a whole great way that you can, so we'll do something like this. I don't even know what this brush is. Let's figure it out. Oh, it's more of a painterly brush. Sure, that's fine. Do some of those. Let's do some of those. I'm just gonna grab random brushes just to, if you're following the form of it, Scribbles. Yeah, that nice Craig Mullins look. Thick paint vertical. And then the real secret, if you get, let's say, or actually let's just keep this weird textured vertical brush. If you notice on the references, there are little hits to where certain hair strands are catching the light, right? Even here, this is one shape, that's one shape, and then you have some shapes of strands coming over. Even though it's chaotic, even though it looks like this will take forever, it really won't. Because if we wanted to add this kind of like wispy, raspy look, all you have to do is get a small brush, come around the outskirts of the helmet of hair. I do this all the time. This is one of the best cheats you can possibly do for hair. Because people are like, wow, look at how detailed. And it's not. It's really not. You're just inferring. Then you can do a few lines here and there. Then you can come over here. You can make sure the edges still read okay for the strands. Then you grab your highlight and you do them a little bit more. A little bit of light pressure, hard pressure. A little bit of light pressure, hard pressure. Dots. Dots here. And depending on how many of these you want, and then if you really want to get fancy, since we have a backlight, instead of the darker, get the lighter ones. Because these are now the ones catching some of the light. It's all shapes. That's all it is. Hair is one of those things that people get so caught up on, and they're like, oh, this lady has such long hair, and it's wisping in the wind and stuff. It's going to take me 10 hours just to render out the hair. Hair can almost be an afterthought. If the shape works, if it goes around the skull, there's nothing to it, really. Like, hair is one of the easiest things, in my opinion, to render. Because you just have to make sure that it stems, literally it stems from the root. And if it comes out and then you have the hairline, different characters will have their hairline start differently. Like mine, if I grew out my hair, would be way back here. Some people, it's right up here. Like, you know, get go, but it look clumpy. Yeah. It's, and see, but then you zoom out, and then let's get even like pure white brush and do a few of these. It makes it super easy because people can use context clues and know that this is hair. You know what I mean? Like, they get it. And it's funny, even if you watch artists like on Instagram or something that do photorealism, like they literally do almost like a Xerox copy of something, they start the same way. They put the block of hair in, and then they will go in with like a really sharp 5H brush or something and go like, and like comb through the hair, so to speak. But if you're following the shapes, if you're following the form and the direction, like this hair blowing, it's like coming up. Basically, the wind's coming from behind her and then hitting the hair to go forward. Because notice I even did a more subtle version on the horse, on the horse's mane. I'm just selling the idea that this hair and this hair, you know, and this hair right here is going the same direction as this hair. What I'm also going to add, and one of the things I'm actually planning on adding, is some sort of leaves blowing the same way. Because the wind is coming diagonally this way. It's like kind of coming down, but kind of swooping down. I want the leaves to be blowing the direction the wind is. Do you know what I mean? So that's a thing I'm going to play with a little bit. That's actually one of the things we're going to do. But really, you can see a lot of this so far, a whole lot of this has just been inferred texture. This has just been canvas textures and dry brush, a little bit of hard round brush to block in big shapes. But yeah, like canvas stuff right here, you can get away with murder. Like, it's pretty interesting. But like some of this armor, I am going to refine it a little bit. But really the main thing, yeah, so the leaves would essentially be something like, let me get my brush pack back, because I have an idea of which brushes I want to use. Let's use creamy. Here we go. So it's more like, and see, this may not even look quite right, but that way there's a little bit of something happening. Trey Dog, what's up, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. Because really, we're going to be adding in some rain, which is one of the big things about this this piece in particular, is I want to get a weather effect down and make it look good and make it look correct. What we have to do first, I need... Well, I need to turn this back up to 100%. There we go. I was wondering why that brush was acting weird. I have this right here. Yeah, I've made a pretty much a promise to myself to just, even if the style stuff I could be like self-conscious about or whatever, like, oh, I need to find the right style and blah, blah, blah. I'm just gonna paint the way that I paint and then figure it out, you know. If people want to hire me, great. If they don't, I'll make my own thing. You know? Because I would be, like, perfect example is I would be like, oh, this character looks too, quote-unquote, cartoony. But I was looking. I had that kind of, oh, crap moment. A lot of my favorite artists, their characters look slightly cartoony as well. And then I realized why, and it started making sense. This is going to be a future video. I mean, I'm a big believer in using reference. You guys know that. I say, hey, use more reference than you know what to do with. Just have it there. Use it, utilize it all the time. But I started making a deal with myself is what would happen if I stopped using reference. The theory of that is that the shapes will become way more important because I will have to make sure things look good to my mind rather than comparing them to a reference. And if I want to build up that sort of autonomy that I can basically, anything that's in my head, I can put down on a piece of paper or I can put down on a canvas. The only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I exercise that muscle by doing that. I need to not use reference as much and not as a braggadocious, oh, I drew this without reference. Normally when people act that way, we can tell they didn't use reference because it's not very good. But I'm at the point now to where I have used reference for 5 years, every single day, all day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want reference to dictate how an image looks. I just don't. I'm kind of bored of that. I think that's part of what my rut was. Is I would be so worried if a vast majority of my time was trying to find a reference rather than painting, there's a problem. And plus, if people are scared about like AI taking their jobs, if you can work from imagination, sorry, you will never be replaced by AI, because you're gonna have people that, oh well, I'm gonna use it and it's gonna get better and I can use it for reference and to start my images. And it's like, yeah, what happens when you don't pay the subscription, or your electricity goes out, or your art director says, yeah, that's all well and good, this sketch is fine, I guess, but we need it instead of nighttime, we need it during the day, we need it during golden hour, we need it to be raining, we need it to also have a certain thing of light, some magic crystals coming over, and then we need that bounce light to be able to, you need to be able to work on the fly fast. And not needing reference is going to be very helpful on keeping that interesting. Because now it is from your head. Like, it is your interpretation of what that prompt is. You know what I'm saying? Brushwork on Reddit. Yes. So that seems to be what I'm using reference for more and more. Like, yeah, we use this for the angle, and I was like, I just compared it real quick, but like, this still does not look like this, but that's good. I think that's good. Really where it is solving problems with things like color. How did this artist, like how did Iraq make a kind of cloudy, stormy look? Oh, they made the color key is in the shadows, right? Because all the detail you're seeing is in the shadows. It's in the darker parts of the image. Also, it's a good tell because the highlights are blown out. The whites are just blown out. And we're staying within the cool color values. We're staying within the greens and the blues. Yeah, you have some browns here and stuff like that, but these are all kind of relative. And then, yeah, you have some warms, but that's really the only warms in the image are on the facial structures. So that's all you need to know. Oh, greens, blues, keep it dark, key it. Good to go. You know what I mean? And like, to be totally fair, I still believe that every artist still needs to, it's a weird dichotomy, it still needs to use reference. Still needs to use it, because you can't know what everything looks like all the time forever. You can't. There's no way to. No one can know everything. It's not possible. But how using reference, you know, for your first few years, if you want to go pro, your reference better be almost bang on, in my opinion. Because you got to know exactly how that neck muscle works. You got to know these things. Because the only way to realistically tilt a head is to know what the limits are on that. You know what I mean? Like, it needs to be very logical. It needs to, like, in my opinion, it needs to really hit home that way. You need to study. You need to study your ass off. But then after that, you're already getting gigs, you're already getting jobs, you're already, like, selling prints, you're kind of doing your thing. People like what they're seeing. Then start kind of pulling in the reins a little bit. Be like, okay, can I start this, even just the sketch, with no reference at all? Can I just sketch out the shapes? No reference. Okay, now I'll get reference now that the shapes are in, and we'll make it work. Then later, you do that 10, 20 times. Then you're like, okay, can I get to the first draft without using reference? Then it's all imagination based. Like, you're doing training wheels, you know. Oh, you need to do, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things of, so the best websites are Pexels, Unsplash, and Pixabay. Pexels, Unsplash, and Pixabay. They're royalty free. They usually have, sometimes they have Creative Commons stuff, but normally they have like royalty free. You can use them as study guides. You can use them as, you can do direct copies of them. And then as long as you just give credit by the name and be like, hey, this picture I got off Pixabay and it was by so-and-so, you're fine. It's a great way to study. They have hundreds of thousands of pictures and they have all been licensed. The photographers have been paid. It's all on the up and up. None of this AI crap. But I would argue the only way you can get cool, fun, interesting things like this, like what reference are you going to get for this? For just this general idea? Nothing really. Thomas just had an idea for a dope little squatty guy with big ol' laugh grin and a bear with armor. So he probably put down the shapes and started sketching some stuff, but then later was like, okay, at this weird angle, how does the fat collect on somebody's neck? Then you find reference. You find somebody who has the body build that you're looking at. And then you just notice things. Oh, whenever they tilt their head, this part of the muscle or the fat or whatever does this. Okay, cool. And that's all you use reference for, you know. And like this, I would say, well, and what's Dong does such a great job of stylizing shapes here. And like, it really doesn't matter where the folds are. But if you need to know where folds are, that's a great way to do it. Yeah, Kim Jong-gi. Oh, Kim Jong-gi studied with reference for like 20 years. Like hardcore reference, you know? And yeah, I'm like, okay, so where's the blade of the axe? So it's things like that. Like, okay, does this part of the axe change color? Yes or no? Oh, it's lighter in value near the tip, where the actual blade part is that the blacksmiths can sharpen. Cool. And then you remember that. Oh, every time I draw an axe, I'm going to draw it with a lighter thing because the blacksmith has to sharpen it. That's how you use reference, you know? I'm just saying this because it's almost a revelation to me, because I've tried to use reference way too literally for so long. I think that's where my inner turmoil of not having a style comes from. So like, the reference would be for this, oh, I wonder how this is lit. If this is overcast lighting and, you know, I wonder what it would actually be lit like compared to how I have it lit right now. But I'm not going to look at the design of armor. Not really. I could, and it could be helpful if I wanted to make it more believable, or if it was a period piece and it had to, like, if this had to be during like the Third Crusade, yeah, I'm going to look at tons of reference because it has to match. It has to look right. It has to be functional. It has to look the same. Like, but if it's imaginative, do whatever you want, you know? See, we're just kind of coming in with the shapes here. But what this is doing is this is telling your brain that you can take off the training wheels. You can actually make cool images without them being one-to-one on a reference. You know, just what looks good. Does it make sense? Does the form itself make sense? Yes or no? And you're just basically training your brain that you can, in fact, you know, this could be considered a material study, but I'm not looking at anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure it looks kind of beat up, kind of chromed out a little bit, but nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. We'll just figure it out. That would throw me, yeah. So that was the fun of that retro painting, is I wanted to do something completely different just to prove to myself that I could. But that was funny because that kind of gave me that confidence of like, oh, well, maybe I can work more from imagination now. Maybe I'm ready. Maybe that's where I'm at in my art journey, is if I just work from imagination for a little bit, what's going to happen? Like, will it look good? Will it look as good as the stuff that I used a lot of reference for? So I'm going to render this armor out a little bit. I don't even know what this armor is supposed to be. I just know that I wanted it to have like this breastplate here. And then this kind of comes down, and that this belt was kind of wrapped around like this. And it's funny because this is way more fun. This is just way more fun to do than like, well, let me pull out my reference and figure out the blah, blah, blah. Like, I probably do need to fix this hand just because the dimension's a little off. But I may not even change it. You know, I may not. Because, like, is this going to make or break the piece if the hand is slightly wrong? Or is it just one of those things that, no, that's part of this, like, I don't want to say it's part of the style. Like, I don't want a mistake to be a part of a style. That doesn't make any sense. But this is like a concept art hand. You can tell that it's holding on to something, and that's it. Yes. We got that. So this is more of a render right there. Make sure the shape reads okay. I actually need to change the angle of it, I think. See, and be able to get the lighting done without reference is just like... It's just tons and tons and tons of material studies I've done over the past, like, 2 years. But even if it's not exactly right, and it's not logically or, like, physics-wise what would happen with the light being like that and all this, and it's not the exact right, like, cast shadow coming onto the metal, and at a certain point, I just had to come to the realization that it actually doesn't matter, as long as you get the intent of what you're looking at. You know what I mean? Like, as long as it's making sense in a way for your brain... Here we go. Yeah, buddy. These, I'm telling you what, man, these dry brushes are a freaking game changer. Because it's allowing so much texture without any texture at all. It's the coolest thing. I dig it. Makes it fun to use it. It automatically makes your work look more painterly. because the edges are not as like crisp. You see a little bit of the canvas. Let's see, I can hit this, make this bigger. Just makes it almost look like an underpainting without it being an underpainting. I don't need Halloween off. Gotta keep the employees in check. Add a little bit of fun texture there. Fun there. We'll get the dry Frazetta brush. Come in with a little more render. This one's a little bit thicker, but with a little bit of there we go. You just do a little hammer on and pull off type stuff. You can get some dope looking textures. Okay. Then we'll do a flat grainy canvas again. There we go. Okay. All right. So we turn on, duplicate this layer, bring it up, color. Now it's when we grab our main brush or a hard round. We come in and we adjust this. That metal's going to be hit there. Kind of control some of this a little bit. And then what's fun is we can actually gradient map these out again to try to find the exact color palette we want. Right? This is pretty cool. I do like it, but I think we can make something that really I don't know if that would do that though. No. Okay. Oh, yes, and leaves could also be I want red leaves. No, I do not. However, orange leaves fits more on what we already have. Yeah, we can do that. Kind of orange that light out too. We'll go ahead and Library qualification. I wish, dude. I was thinking about that and I was like, man, library sciences would be a dope thing to get into. I know it needs to be way more well funded than it is all across America, but libraries are awesome. We take the kids at least twice a week. Painting with just yes, the whole knives painting. There's a whole gamut of artists that do that, and they are incredible. So, let me... Now let's do the fun stuff again, right? Let's do gradient map. Change this to color. This is kind of what we had before. See, for the nice like thunderstorm look, you can do something like this one's pretty good. Actually, this one's really good. There's a few other ones. That one's good. Sunsetty stuff looks pretty good. So I wonder if maybe mixing something like that with something. Let's try overlay. That's cool. It's really dark, but see, normally I like to do the color blending mode just because it keeps our values exactly. Yes, so I did it. I basically did the same thing. I made this big dark shape right here because I knew I wanted the horse's face like as the closest thing, but not in focus necessarily, or like very impasto, thick brushwork, but not really the main focus. And then yeah, just kind of did a slanted look right here, and then I was like, oh well, maybe I have this thing right here, and that turned into the sword. So yes. And then from there I was like, oh, maybe the wispies and stuff can be hair blowing in the wind. And so it started just building on itself. So these look really cool. And see, I like the idea of something monochromatic like this. This is almost like a Zorn palette, you know. And then if we had that and then that, how would we want to play with this? So this is the thing with, I really love this gradient map method now. I'm like super into it. But the only thing is, it doesn't necessarily tie both things together. You guys will see what I mean whenever I like the look of this, like for sure. But it won't make any sense. Do you know what I mean? And I know we've just spent like the past 4 streams talking about Doesn't matter if it makes sense or not, as long as it looks good. And it will. It'll look cool, but it really won't sell the idea that we're after. But what's nice about doing this way is we can separately change each thing individually now. Whenever I come in and mask this out, it's essentially going to be the same thing as if we had silhouettes on their own layer and all that good stuff. But like we're doing it after the fact, essentially. You know what I mean? And then like that. I'll make sure that is. Cool. All right. So we have something like that, right? And then if we want to get real fancy, we can just come in. Like that. Owl Solar, what's up? Thank you for the follow, my friend. So we have something like that, right? So we can see how, I mean, whenever you're monochromatic with your color, everything just fits, right? As long as your values are okay. You can never really go wrong with something being blue if the rest of the piece is blue. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty safe bet. You're going to be pretty, and even if you're in the same temperature zone. So if like a majority of this is orange and then highlights are yellow and shadows are red, it's still gonna work. And to prove that, we can go like this. Oh, not layer mask. There it is. We can do some funky stuff. And now that we have, I'm gonna move this over so we can actually see it better. So yes, this is explained in the gradient map course, this exact method. But I go into why the theory of it works and all that. It's a really, I really like the course. It's funny, I like it enough. I wish I could do another one, but I kind of said everything in the first one. So that one's it. But yeah, I think it's a good one. Like, I like that. That might be, I think, the best course I've done so far, because we got in, we covered the whole topic. It showed a ton of examples. We used official art, non-official art. Like, we used a whole bunch of stuff, and then manipulated it, played with masking, played with painting, like, it really, really worked. See, I mean, you can do crazy stuff. Have that nice, like, retro vibe. You know what I mean? Let's see, something like that looks cool. More of the monochromatic stuff. Or you can go just real crazy. Do something like that. It's very dramatic. Like, it's drama. Do I ever incorporate? Not really. Not unless, like, a character would be walking beside a building and there's a sign and stuff like that. But not too often, actually. I try. I'm very much a moment painter. Like, I want to paint moments and, like, the emotion of something. So text is one of those things that it's very powerful and you can use it really well. But at that point, it's almost graphic design because of how it's designed on the... That's cool. On the canvas, you know? And people are going to read it. They're going to want to read before they look. It's just an instinct that we have. See, we can do some really cool stuff. And then if I actually come in and make this color, it's going to be a little more subtle and it's going to blend in a little better. No matter what we pick. So we can pick some crazy ones, like That looks really cool, I think. Like I said, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But if we wanted to try something like, okay, let me mask out everything facing up. So if we have this, let me mask out everything facing up with a soft brush, okay? Because let's test the theory. The theory is if something is facing the light or the atmosphere or whatever, it's going to get that, right? So if something's facing up, it gets whatever's up. But if it's facing away from the sky, then it's going to have that warm undercurrent, right? Just that's facing up a little. That's facing up. Up. This side is facing up. Right? Facing up. Facing up. 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 See, with the skin, it's a little bit different, right? But kind of. So, I mean, really, to be honest with you, this is kind of working okay. Right? Oh, gotta fix that. There we go. And it's actually reading like it's pretty incorporated. And once again, we can always just come in and be like, well, it almost looks like there's a torch knocked over, or like she's looking at a fire or something, you know. There's definite things you can do. We'd have to tweak things, right? But like, this could be a great way to, like, yeah, incorporate the idea if we wanted to have some fire or something. We could definitely do that with the rim light as well, or the kind of that it's like casting light. See, yeah, that's super intense. It actually looks kind of cool. Like, I do like it. I think it is a little intense, right? So it would be like this more so than anything. And then you could come in with... So if you have this, we can kind of smooth these out. Then you can come in with some really bright reds and hit some highlights. Almost the same way that we did the rim lighting this way. We would do almost reverse rim lighting, but with a bright red or like a yellow or maybe an orange or something. That might actually work. That wasn't part of the plan. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the thing is you can do some crazy stuff. You can do like 8 different gradient maps. And then which order would you work? Probably from the bottom up. So if you start with black and white and then you do a gradient map and then kind of get rid of some stuff, then do a gradient map, then get rid of some stuff, then do a gradient map, and then get rid of some stuff, and you keep doing that, there's going to be some really interesting looks that you get. Because I wonder if... Yeah, so if we now made up that our mind like that, right? So if we want to enable the layer mask, but we made up our mind that, okay, the fire is facing this way, kind of where the horse is walking. Almost like she is pissed because she is seeing like her town or her village burn down. It's raining, there's a storm, she tried to make it on time, she didn't, and now she's looking and she's seeing, you know. Now we can adjust for that. So now we'll come back into the mask, right? Soft round. Now all we care about is, are the things facing the fire? Yes or no? So I would actually think that that would override the overhead light. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would actually think that that light, since it's a more intense, direct light source, even if it's far away, would do more. And I actually like the weird kind of look on the horse. So we might keep that. We might keep the... That's back. That's back. Right there. Have a little bit here. Yeah. That looks cool. And then that's red. That's blue. Red, we got blue right there. That zombie horse, yeah. See what I mean? But now we're kind of cooking. Now it's starting to make sense. And another thing, yet again, we're not super worried about what the actual should I do the yellow there? No. We'll keep this blue. We're not worried about the local color of anything. Oh, maybe. Okay, wait a minute. So now it's like, okay, what part I need to actually fix that part of the face. I don't like that hair being there. Because now it's almost a tangent. I don't like it. So we're basically just going to put in the shadows, or if it's not getting hit with a direct light, we're just kind of making it more of that blue. But what's nice about that is we can also, well, that's cool. All right. And even that one's a, oh yeah. There's that. And you have that. Let's try that. Almost like season some of the kind of introduce some of that color there. I need to fix her hair, that little tuft right there. I need to bring it in and make it more formed like that. But I hope you guys can see kind of how it's, let me airbrush it. Here we go. And it's almost like a side gradient now, you know. So maybe I can... That's cool. Sure. And then if we came in with a main brush, and then I wonder if it was more like a we almost like render out the reflection of a fire here. We're introducing some of the fire colors directly. Almost like a real nice, bright, saturated. then like... So instead of the highlights being that white color, all the highlights are... Yeah, we'll look at the sword here in a bit, because I also have to straighten out some of the lines. But like, yeah, if we have something like that, and then... Yeah, if we just trust the process... While I'm thinking about it, let me fix this. Yeah, that's better. So I think what it was is it was the tangent of that line that was kind of throwing it off a little bit. Actually, that wouldn't be a full line like that. See, the goal is to get rid of any of the, like, actual sketch lines. So I did talk about getting rid, maybe, of this. I think I'm actually a little bit too far zoomed in for right now. I shouldn't be really worried about details too much yet. We're still kind of finalizing the mood. See, we can also do the art cheat where we go over here. You color dodge it, boom, saturated, boom, airbrush, boom. That's weird. Oh, huh. It's weird. We were on the pencil tool for a while there. There it is. Do something like that. An old digital art cheat right there. Go from something like that to something like that. Now I'm curious. What? That's weird. Okay, so the colors are actually pretty spot on. Sometimes I use the auto tools for Photoshop to see what it would quote unquote recommend. And like we were actually pretty good right there. So now I think this is ready to take, and we can do about a half hour of like painterly stuff. Meaning we can open this. So I'm going to save it as a PNG file. No compression. Cool. Now we have to think about how painterly do we want it? Like how thick brush, how, you know. Yeah, this is good. We'll just use this. We'll get some wet brushes here. And we will just start color picking what we already have. And integrating the funny thing is, since I already used the more painterly brushes from my new brush pack, this actually kind of looks the same using these brushes, you know. There's going to be a few that are going to be big hits, though, I think. Especially if I come up here, and then we go. Just going to throw in some random these, because the nice thing about doing kind of wild, crazy painterly brushes like this is you can always smudge them out later. And because I'm going to be bringing this in as yet another layer onto the PSD file, I can literally just get rid of the ones that I don't want. Super easy. And let me actually grab, which one do I want? Dirty oil. Dirty oil is great because it picks up colors from your previous few, see? Your previous few deals. It's almost like a mixer brush, but it works so much faster. So it lets you kind of come in and just do some craziness. You notice I'm not really all that concerned with how my rendering actually looks right now, because we can always fix it. I just need some chaotic strokes in here to give the viewer something cool to look at, right? See, it's like mixing all these colors in and doing some weird stuff, and I am here for it. And even if some of these brush strokes break the values right now, that's okay. Because we can always, of course, change the values later, right? See, what I really like to do in PaintStorm, one of my favorite things is actually these kind of reflection things of the metal. Because it lets you get away with doing a really kind of impressionistic look with it. But it still works. Especially when you get a lot of these just strokes and stuff in, and then you start blending between them. It looks really, really cool. See, we can even use some of these as like dents in the armor, you know? Same thing here, gotta introduce some of the texture. And yeah, that's actually a good idea. Let's color pick from the sky and bring it into the reflection of the armor. This way it does correlate back to the sky itself. It just ties everything in. It's basically, we already have our paint palette here, you know? So let's utilize it. So I'm gonna come in, and really I can just grab these. There we go. Yeah. And make this the look of the leaves. We're just kind of smudging some of the stuff in there. Let's do that. The true concept art hand right here. Where it doesn't need to look like anything really. Okay, now to get rid of these lines. So then I can come in and go this is kind of what I found out the secret to sort of the really nice impressionistic painting look, to where like you can paint a hand and you can tell it's a hand, but it doesn't need to be perfectly anatomically accurate. Just give the base shapes. That's good. Smooth out some of these. Smooth out that. See, and now it looks very, very painterly compared to what it did before, right? Let me bring in some more darks, give this a little more personality. Actually, this... Let me see how this would work. Yeah, that might work a little better. And then we control the shape a little more. So maybe it's a little less buck wild. Yeah, that sells it a little better, right? Then yeah, and we'll do the really fast hair render thing where you just get a little bit of a lighter color and put some angles and blend them in and we'll fix the actual face rendering in Photoshop. But it's a little more dramatic. But her nose is now at the wrong angle. so funny how whenever you make the face rendering sloppier, it looks more realistic. It's so weird. It's funny. I mean, I dig it. It works. You know what I mean? But it just goes to show how many nuances there are to like human skin and the depth and so cool. All right. So I think we got pretty good painterly pass. Let me actually bring in some brighter red, some orange. Basically, we're just gonna add a little bit of the fire just to give the audience something to ooh and ah, right? So we got that. We'll integrate some of those in. This is a very traditional painting method. Is you want to give the audience just a little hint of those. So literally you just put those direct colors from the tube and then use your oil, you know, linseed oil or whatever you're using, and then literally just blend them in with it. It's a way to kind of tint things. Works pretty well. Yeah, that's true. You've seen some stuff. Your nose ain't gonna be super pretty. Move that right there. Cool. And same thing with this one. If we come and smear these in. Maybe grab another thing of bright light, do a few big brush strokes, do a few darker ones. And my only thing is we'll go back and we'll kind of re-render the edges of all this stuff. Make it look a little more shape-based again, because that is the only thing with doing this, is you kind of get rid of some of your shapes. Like the silhouette still looks good, but I'm trying to think if these leaves are actually doing anything. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Then what's funny, we have all this stuff painted in like this. So if we want to come back over, we want to save, save. Got it. Bring it back in. About 10 more minutes and then we'll... So yeah, there's a... I'll edit, copy merged, bring it here, edit, paste, boom. So now we got our nice painterly version. We have all these crazy things right here. What's real fun See, you can keep doing this process over and over and over until you get something you like. So if we like this, you can still have, like, if you wanted, you know, the Zorn palette-y look, you can definitely do that. You know, something like this. You know, there's just so many different things you can do, and I mean, stuff like that's cool. And what's nice is you still have all the brush texture stuff. So basically doing that, you just give yourself more information to work with. Then I can actually, let me go. Let's do those. Yeah, and it turns into, so like, let's say we sent this to the art director and they're like, actually, the portal that's opening, or no, instead of a fire, make it be a green portal that's opening. You just come in and put a gradient map and erase some stuff out and you're good to go. You know, you can do a whole lot. Yeah, so if we really wanted that sort of Zorn palette look, and like this is also a good check of the values too, you know. Yeah, you can do some wacky stuff. So if we have that and then we want to come in, soft round some of this out. See, and this is a little bit more like naturalistic, you know? So see, there's still so much you can do with we had it like that, and then this kind of tempers it a little bit more. A little bit more naturalistic. Alrighty, Brent. Thanks for hanging out, bro. Yeah, really, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to get off here in about 10 minutes, maybe, yeah, about 10 minutes. I need to go like this, that. Oh, no. I want to do that. Oh, I know what I want to do. It's because... Dang it. It's because I was on the... Okay, there you go. There, that's what I wanted. Edit, fill. Let's just fill this black. I'm going to mask this in. Like that. Let me slightly fit it there. Cool. Now we can fill that to 0. I can grab one of my main brushes. Yo, Cody, what's up, man? Heck yeah. Dude, I've been meaning to start my speedrun journey with Quake 3 Arena. I've already kind of like studied it, and it's a game I know super well. I need to actually try my hand at it. If I can beat the whole thing in like less than an hour, I'll consider, you know, recording it and putting it on like speedrun archives or something. Okay. And select inverse. And come and do this. There we go. bit. Yeah, I have on my Samsung phone, I have like a PlayStation 1 emulator, so I can carry around Star Ocean 2 and Breath of Fire 3. No matter where I go, I always have it with me. Okay. And that is here. Right. Boom. Okay. There we go. A little bit. It's funny how far this one has come tonight. It has a way different vibe than what we started with. Maybe we can lose that edge. I need to... get the face that correct shape again. Really, it was up here. Yeah, we're basically just trying our hand at working from imagination primarily and just making stuff look as good as we can without using a lot of reference, just to start building that muscle, you know. Start building it a little more. See what we do need though. Is maybe some of the rim light. Yeah. I was like, maybe we can just have a strand of hair going all the way across her face to make it look a little more dramatic, but I don't like the way that looks. So we gonna get rid of it. we go. Almost rendering this out like almost like a Frank Frazetta face. Frazetta was really keen on using the midtones of a face being different temperature than some of the rest of the stuff. So it is funny how much it's changed since the beginning, though, of the painting, because we started with. Actually, let me do it like this. It's just a completely different animal now. Yeah. So this is kind of where it was. I think I might like the angle of the... So that's the thing, kind of. I kind of like it, but now it's just changing the mood of the thing. Because remember how whenever we started, I was like, my goal is to make this feel like almost a thunderstorm, because we were going to add rain to it. But now, because of all of the changes and stuff we've made, because I mean, if we go down deep, like, this is kind of where we were. Let's see. Yeah. So like I would say this is kind of where we were, right? Which I think has more of like the thunderstorm vibe, like a storm is coming in or that type of thing. And this is just something, it's just something different now. I think we kind of lost the idea of seeing a fire. Like if we had that narrative of like, oh, well now she's looking at a fire, and we can improve it by like putting more highlights in, kind of like I was talking about before, doing a reverse rim light, to where instead of having rim light doing like a backlight thing, we actually have the rim light forward. So it would be like you would define your forms, but it makes really the whole thing read way different, way different. Like you would have this, and it would be like, oh, it would be like, and like it looks really weird right now, but as you would add more and more, and like everything would logically follow the rule of it. because that would almost have to be like, because it would have to be like intense, right? Because yeah, I mean, we would have to do a whole bunch of this type of stuff. Then even like on the horse. And you can change what the lighting mode is to make it a little more, and it would even be like this sort of thing. You know, a little too much there maybe, but like something like that. Maybe a soft light, and then you come over here with this, with the color dodge again. And then with a soft round. You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to really pronounce the fire part of it. And then just kind of make it work, temper it down a little. You know, let the glow happen type of stuff. But what we could do, just to kind of see which version we like better, because I actually think I like the attitude a little more of this one. Because this one's just a different painting. But you can always select all, edit, copy merged. We're going to bring it right here, go edit, paste. We're going to change this to a color. And then you can see, okay, which one do we actually like better? The brushy one that we did in Paint Storm with this same color palette. You know, it's not exactly right, but it's close enough that you can see it. Or, yeah, like this one. Or this one. So I think I actually like I think I do like this one better, just because it has more graphic shapes. I think it kind of tells more of the story. I could come in and add the rain here. I forgot there's a quick way you can add rain. It's like you have to make a noise layer and then blur it, and let's see if I can remember how to do it. I think it's like this. Edit. Fill with black. Filter noise. Add noise. You do like monochromatic, right? Then you do filter. Blur. Is it like a motion blur? Oh, yeah. And then you bring it at kind of whatever angle you want. So if we bring it like there, and then the distance is how much is right there. And you can screen it out. So that kind of hits everything in the background. And then what you do is you grab just a white brush, maybe a main painting brush or something. You grab white, and you come in and do something like this. Different intensities, different links. Then you can get a soft round, make it bigger, do the same thing, because that makes it look like there's a little bit more depth to it. Some of it's blurred out a little. Yeah, you know, that's cheap rain. it's cheap. And then what you do, you can kind of lower the opacity a little. Then it's whenever you come in here, we can kind of main brush one, use white. And start letting the rain hit parts of the character and the sword and have it like splash. You can even do kind of a cool thing, which is you can looks like little horsey's crying. Sorry, bud. Sorry, bud. And do contour lines a little bit. Almost like the dancing ants or whatever you want to call it, going around the... going around the forms. You can even do that here, like that. You know what I mean? This is all just imagination stuff, so I could look at reference on like exactly what does how does rain go through somebody's hair, but it's like, nah, I'll just wing it. Who cares? Like, let's see, we spent a few hours going through that other one and trying to add more painterly strokes and stuff, and we didn't actually need it, I don't think. You know, because like I think this one is actually more atmospheric, even though it has less atmosphere. Merge down, merge down, merge down, right? Yeah. Because, like, if we had that one before, and it's cool and it's painterly and it has all the brushes and whatever, but then this is just, it's a stronger image. You know? I think it really has to do with the face more than anything. But yeah, I actually think the monochromatic works better. I tried to be like, whoa, well, let me change it up. Let me add some reds. Let me add some of this, add some of that. But really, it's just too much to look at almost compared to the other one. And if we did want to pull up our reference and we see, like, there's no mistaking that we are way closer to this type of vibe with this one than we are with this one. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just a super good overcast. You can feel the rainy. Like, I just like that feel. I want it to be so much that you can almost like smell the rain in the picture, you know? So, and yeah, this one. See, it's funny because this face looks really good. This is an official Magic card, you know? And it's somewhat cartoony. Like, it does good form. It does great, like, but it's not realistic, I wouldn't say. The same thing for these. You know? Nice shape-based comic stuff. Looking good. See, we're not too... I mean, this is still probably a level or so above what we're at, just because if you look at the texture and stuff like that of the leather, and but also usually with a Magic the Gathering card you get 6 weeks. Your deadline is 6 weeks. We knocked this out in about, what, 3 hours? So over the course of 6 weeks, if we have something, I'd send this into like an art director and be like, hey man, you want something like this? I'm like, heck yeah. All right. See you in 5 weeks. Where I can go in and literally hit every single, you know what I mean? Like, make sure the leather looks like leather and it feels like leather, and I could spend a whole night just like rendering the cape, the parts of that, you know. So overall, I think this is the one. I think this is the winner. I do need to go and kind of, and plus even the canvas textures look cool to me. So oddly enough, I used more hard round brushes and soft round and more kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, the charcoal and these quote unquote painters, but then using more painterly brushes, literal mixer brushes, literal impasto stuff, looks less, and I mean, yes, I didn't even think about it. I just sort of put the brush around. So if I did it with intent, it might be different. But like even this, which I actually think looks pretty cool with these nice big brush strokes, this still kind of works the same way, you know? If all else fails, I can take this and mask it into this. You know what I mean? Like, we can actually do that right now. I do that. And what to do, let me get rid of the red, right? Let me do normal. Oh, wait, I know what I did. Oh, hold on. Boom. This one goes color, color, boom. That one's on normal. This merges down. There we go. Is that what I want to do? Yeah. So then any of the parts of this one, of the painterly type of this one, that I want to keep, I can literally mask, edit, fill with black, and then with a soft round brush, in this way it doesn't actually destroy anything. I can come in, get white, and then I can see if I like the more painterly versions of things like this background. Have something like right here. So yeah, you can really kind of mix and match. Which I actually think works pretty well. So now we kind of get the best of both worlds. We get a little bit of the painterly stuff, right? So it brings in some of that texture a little. Yeah. Oh. Here we go. Sharper blade, yes, yes. Cool. So yeah. There we go. Good enough for government work, you know. We select all, edit, copy merged, paste. Now we have a new working version. To the very top. I think it's pretty close to done. I just need to change some of the hair. I might keep some of it loosey-goosey, but we see the texture here. We can even come over, if we really want to do our thing, we can get a canvas stamp. Get this lighter color. Get some of that canvas. Let's do this canvas stamp as well. Old vintage texture right there. Here we go, canvas pattern. So a little bit, almost use it like a noise layer. But add some of that canvas look that we really like. And maybe the old stamp. Scratchy canvas. Get some of that up. Cool. All right. So yeah, and let's take a look. This is at 100%. So we can see some of the texture there. You can see that rain noise layer, you know. some of that, the smudges. We can even come with a smudge brush and do some smudging. Yeah. I do think this is better. I think whenever we added the reds and stuff, it looked cool at first, but it kind of got away from us. So. But yeah, I think that is it for tonight. Yeah, right at 2 a.m. So we were live for about 3 hours. 3 hours seems to be the goal, you know, as it were. I may actually get rid of that little hair piece that's in front again. But I think on Saturday we're gonna do a game night. So I think that's what what's gonna happen, because I just re-upped my WoW subscription for the first time since like 2 weeks after Dragonflight came out, and got the War Within, and want to take a look, you know, and see what that is. I've heard like delves are cool. I heard that because I'm a solo dude through and through, so the fact that they added like solo dungeon stuff, they added delves and the warband. So with your alts, apparently there's a lot of cross progression stuff in the alts. So I'll probably be leveling my rogue first. I don't know who my quote-unquote main is. Probably my hunter. I love playing the hunter. She's great. But my rogue was my OG. I started with a rogue back in 2004 on launch day. So we got to get him to 80 first. Them's the rules. So we'll do that. We'll play some WoW. And then we might, in about another week or so, we might do some more competitive Street Fighter. Try to level up some more. Do that. So yeah, we'll see. I feel like kind of sprinkling in some gaming streams every once in a while, but you know me, it's going to be a lot of art stuff for sure. So the next YouTube video is going to be about my favorite brushes in Procreate. I think I've decided I'm going to make that the next video. Ironically, and here's a little behind the scenes look, all of the kind of art theory stuff and kind of the navel gazing and the hey to be an artist and the mental stuff, those videos do kind of terribly. They get really good like replies and great conversation, and I like making them, but they do not perform at all, like at all. But every single video that I make that's like, here's my favorite feature of blank program. Here's my favorite brush in blank program. Here's me ranking 10 programs. All of that, the review-based stuff, it's like 20 to 1 on the views. And you know, views aren't everything, and I'm going to make what I'm going to make. I'm not a YouTuber by any means. But I do need the YouTube videos to make it worth making them. I just need that to happen, because there's a lot of time, there's editing, there's a bunch of time that I could be spending getting better at art and not doing YouTube as far as like weekly, you know, narrated videos. Those take time. And so we got to figure out something, you know what I mean? So expect maybe a lot of, I'm not going to make them like chintzy or anything. They're not going to be 2-minute long, whatever. Like they're still going to be thorough. I'm going to talk about why I like the stuff, but it may be very software specific, like, oh, here's my favorite features of Rebel. Here's my favorite, you know, I did some compare videos last year, Art Rage versus Rebel and Clip Studio versus Krita, and like there's a bunch of stuff that I can do like that, but we'll figure it out, because I think the live stream here is a great place for us to just chill out and make art and talk about the philosophy stuff. But I think the YouTube channel, the weekly YouTube stuff, I don't want to go down the clickbait rabbit hole. You kind of have to nowadays, but I'm doing my best to avoid it. So it's like, what's kind of clickbaity without being obnoxious? And it's like, oh, let's talk about each specific program and maybe a feature that I like about it. So that might be kind of where we go with that. But that is my time. We will see you guys next time. I'll probably be like level 71 or 72, hopefully, on my Rogue whenever we start streaming WoW for the next stream. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some snacks and drinks and just hang out and play some games and talk about lore and all that fun stuff. Because I'm a big Warcraft nerd. I really am. My next... so I have a sci-fi sleeve that I'm making right now. And, you know, I got like a Jedi Knight deal, Final Fantasy VII, got Blade Runner, got like Battlestar Galactica up here. What's the other one? Where is it? Oh, a Raven. So this one's from The Crow. It's kind of sci-fi. It's like noir, like neo-noir. So that type of stuff. But then this arm is going to be my fantasy arm. And it's going to have Horde Alliance. It's going to have Lord of the Rings stuff. Like, we're going to get tatted out, man. It's going to take years and years because, you know, kids. And it's nice for them to be able to have things like clothes and food. And that's more important to spend money on than old dad getting his tattoos. But yeah, so I'm a WoW lore nerd through and through, man. A lot of fun. But I'm rambling now because it's 2:03 in the morning. And I will see you guys real soon. We'll have WoW night. We'll have some game nights. Do some fun stuff. But thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you all very, very much. Thanks for watching me waffle back and forth yet again on a painting. But I think we got there. We got to a decent spot. I'm going to finish that one up. Add a few more accoutrements, as it were. And then we'll post it up. See how it does on the old social medias. If it's anything like my other ones, it'll get like 30 likes. Which is whatever. It's fine. I make art for art directors, not necessarily for the public at large, I guess. But that's my time. You guys take care. I appreciate you all very much. Till next time. Peace.